So let us start a new topic. In this lecture, we will discuss the topic of tax collected at source, tax collection at source, TCS. In the last lecture, we discussed the provision of TDS, tax deducted at source. What do we mean by TDS? When I purchase some goods or services, then to my supplier, before making the payment, I will deduct some tax on supplier's behalf. It is TDS, tax deducted at source. That means before making any payment, you deduct the tax at source. In TCS, what happens? You collect the tax at source. Now, when through Amazon or Flipkart, Snapdeal, you purchase anything, it is possible that Amazon is not supplying the product. There may be some supplier sitting. If you want to purchase mobile covers, cell phone covers, you give an order online through Amazon and you will get the mobile cover. Now, supplier was not the Amazon. Supplier was the supplier who has supplied these mobile covers. Amazon was only acting as electronic commerce operator. Amazon was simply giving a platform where suppliers and recipients can meet indirectly. Amazon is simply acting like National Stock Exchange, where share trading is going on, where someone is the buyer, someone is the seller. Exchange only takes security transaction tax. Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Swiggy, Zomato, what are these? These are apps. These simply act as a medium between the supplier and the recipient. Now, tax collection at source is on these ECOs, electronic commerce operator. That's it. There were so many deductors in case of TDS, but in case of tax collection at source, for the time being, government says only electronic commerce operator are legally liable to collect tax at source. Collect. So from whom they will collect? Of course, recipient will pay something to the supplier. Through whom? Through electronic platform, through Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal. So these Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Swiggy, these will deduct some percentage and will deposit that some percentage directly to the government. This percentage is nothing but known as tax collected at source. Now I'm not using the word tax deducted here because who made the payment? Recipient. In the earlier concept of TDS, there were only two parties, supplier and the recipient. So recipient paid something and before making payment, recipient deducted something. It was known as TDS, tax deducted. In this case, recipient is not deducting anything. Recipient of goods or services is not deducting anything. Recipient is making the full payment. But that full payment will not reach to the supplier because one party lies between recipient and the supplier. Who is that? If you can see the board, in TDS what happens? I hope this font is visible. In TDS what happens? Supplier and recipient. Now recipient makes the payment in TDS, for example 1 lakh, but he will not pay 1 lakh rupees. He will deduct some tax, 1% or 2% as the case may be. For example, 2%. So 2,000 recipient will keep and 98,000 supplier will get. So I was using the word deductor for this person in case of TDS. But in TCS it will not happen. In TCS it will not happen. I hope it is visible, okay, 98,000. But in TCS it will not happen. In TCS what happens? Supplier, recipient. Suppose this recipient has purchased a cell phone of 60,000 rupees. I purchased a cell phone of rupees 60,000. I am not deducting anything. The payment will not go directly to the supplier. Payment will have to pass through whom? Another party. Electronic commerce operator. Payment will not go directly to the supplier. Payment will first go to whom? ECO. For some days, ECO will use this money. That is why these ECOs are earning crores of money just because of interest income. This ECO will use the money for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, or 4 days, depending upon the policies. If 10 days is the return policy, that for 10 days the recipient can return the goods. Supplier will not get the payment till 10 days. 10 days, ECO will use the money, and the collection of ECO per day will be hundreds of crore rupees. So this is a way of earning income also. Now, the recipient is giving full income 60,000 to the ECO, so that ECO can give the 60,000 to supplier. But the TCS provision comes into picture, section 52. And that is why I am not using the word deducted at source. I am using collection at source. So ECO will collect some tax. For example, 1%. So ECO will collect how much tax? 600. And supplier will get only 59,000. Technically, TDS and TCS are same, but conceptually there is a difference. In TDS, recipient directly deduct. In TCS, recipient doesn't deduct even a single penny. Recipient pays full amount to the electronic commerce operator. ECO collects some tax at source on behalf of the supplier. That's it. It is the concept of TCS, tax collected at source. The provisions of TCS are written in section 52 of the CGST Act. Let me show you the original CGST Act, section 52. Then I will discuss the simplified language. Now see this. This is section 52. I hope it is visible. Collection of tax at source. Section 52, subsection 1. How many subsections are there? Subsection 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's it. There are 14 subsections of section 52 TCS. And you can read subsection 1 so that you have an idea that there is only one person who can be TCS, who is required to be a collector of tax at source, electronic commerce operators. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in this act. So it does, what do I mean by this line? That it does not matter what other provisions of the act says, what section 52 says is final. Every ECO, electronic commerce operator, hereafter in this section referred to as operator. So in this section 52, they will not use the full 3 words electronic commerce operator, they will use operator. Not being an agent, I will tell you this later on, shall collect an amount, that's it. So I wanted to show you the original section 52 which deals with tax collected at source, and let me share my file with you. Now this is the simplified language. So the concept is what? TCS, tax collected at source 52. Now, who are the persons required to collect tax at source? I told you that there is only one person, and that person is electronic commerce operator. Not being an agent. What do I mean by not being an agent? Now, in my example, Flipkart, Amazon, etc., these are not acting on behalf of suppliers. If I have purchased mobile phone through electronic commerce operator Flipkart, Flipkart was not the agent of the supplier who is supplying mobile phone. Flipkart is simply giving a platform to the supplier. So the concept is what? Now maybe for some big corporates, any commerce operator may become the agent also. Who are principal and agent? Agent means the person who acts on behalf of the principal. So maybe tomorrow, a very big company, for example, Redmi mobile phone, okay, Xiaomi. For example, Redmi mobile phones are not sold through these Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Company Xiaomi opens its own electronic commerce platform where mobile phones will be sold, and that platform, in that case, for example, acting as agent of the supplier Xiaomi mobile phone. In that case, TCS provisions are not applicable. TCS is applicable when only and only if this electronic commerce operator is acting like a third party. If electronic commerce operator is acting as an agent of the supplier or the recipient, then TCS provisions are not applicable. I hope the point is clear. So for whom these TCS provisions are, every ECO has to collect compulsory 0.5% of the net value of intrastate supplies. What do I mean by net value? Sales minus sales return, that's it. What do I mean by net value? For example, 500 crore is the total sales made in the month of December 19 on Flipkart, and in December 19, 10 crore is returned. So net value is how much? Only 490 crore. On 490 crore multiplied by 0.5%, assuming it is intrastate supply. In case it is interstate supply, the rate obviously becomes double, 1%. In case of interstate supply, this is the tax collected by the ECO on behalf of the supplier. That's it. This is the provision that who can be the collectors? Only ECO. The meaning of ECO we have already discussed earlier. Meaning of net value of supply, I have just discussed. Sales during 1 month minus sales return during that 1 month, and sales of all registered persons who have supplied their products through this electronic commerce operator. But following services will not be included while determining the net value of taxable supply. I'm skipping this point for this online. You can read it because the recorded lectures are available on YouTube. You can easily stop any lecture at any point of time and you can simply read these points. It is simple illustration. A certain product is sold at rupees 20,000 through an electronic commerce operator by a supplier. Assuming it is an interstate supply, the ECO is liable to collect 0.5% in case of intrastate, 1% in case of interstate. So in this case, it is interstate. So 1% of rupees 20,000, that means 200 rupees as tax under section 52. That's it. This is my first concept, that who are liable to collect tax at source. Now, second concept, if you remember TDS, within how many days the deductor has to deposit tax with the government? It was within 10 days from the end of the month in which deduction was made. Same is the case here. The only difference is I will use the word 10 days from the end of the month in which no deduction was made, but in which collection is made. Otherwise, the time limit is same. If in December I collected some tax at source, then as electronic commerce operator, I have to deposit this tax with the government of India latest by 10th January. Now, two things are new, which was not there in TDS. Every ECO has to furnish monthly returns. I will discuss these returns in the chapter returns. But it is the obligation of every electronic commerce operator to submit the details monthly to the authorities. It is also necessary for this electronic commerce operator to submit the return annually also. Those are known as annual statements. So monthly statements are also required to be furnished by this electronic commerce operator who has collected tax at source. And similarly, annual statements are also required to be furnished with the GST authorities by this electronic commerce operator. These are monthly statements and annual statements. This is the theory which you can easily refer. Correction in monthly. In case any, by mistake, if any issue is there in monthly statement, then how to correct this. Claim of TCS by the supplier. Of course, Now in my example, if you remember, 600 was the tax which was collected by the ECO on behalf of the supplier. Ultimately, this is the tax which has to be assumed that the supplier has paid it. In TDS also, whatever tax was deducted by the recipient of goods or services, the supplier can easily claim that tax deducted, and it will be available by default in the electronic cash ledger. There are two ledgers basically, electronic cash ledgers and electronic credit ledger. In electronic cash ledger, whatever I pay is shown. In electronic credit ledger, whatever is my input tax credit, that is shown. That's it. So whatever you pay from your own pocket to the government of India, it will be reflected in electronic cash ledger. Whatever you have paid when you made the purchases, and the person from whom you made the purchases, that person has deposited that, you can claim it as input tax credit if conditions are satisfied, and that will be reflected in electronic credit ledger. Cash payment by you directly to the government, cash or bank, whatever is this, cash ledger. Whatever ITC you will be eligible to claim, it will be in credit ledger. Now this TDS or TCS is what? Indirectly tax paid by the supplier. So they can easily claim it, and it will be reflected where? By default, as you can see, in electronic cash ledger. That's it. Now ECO, you have just seen that electronic commerce operator has to furnish monthly statement as well as annual statement. All the details of monthly statement furnished by the ECO will indirectly be matched with the details of supplier's return. So ECO is furnishing its monthly statement, and since supplier is also making supplies, supplier will also furnish this statement. So this is matching of details. Automatically these will be matched. And if there is any defect, if there is any mismatching, then there are provisions that how ECO has to rectify it, or how the supplier has to rectify it. I'm skipping this provision because such provisions will not be expected at graduation level. For theory only they can refer. That's it. That's it. This much is sufficient as far as electronic commerce operator is concerned. So whatever I have discussed in this electronic commerce operator, section 52, tax collection at source, these are this topic is more than sufficient. So our topic tax collection at source is also over. If you have any doubt through chat window, you can ask. Kindly reply fast. If you have any doubt in tax collection at source, you can ask. Tax collection at source is easy as compared to TDS. Any problem in tax collection at source, you can ask. I'm waiting for your reply. Now there is a doubt that, so someone has asked a doubt that is TCS only for electronic commerce operator, or it can be for any other intermediary. Now I want to ask, can you tell me some example of that other intermediary? The doubt is, okay, I'm opening this wait. You see one doubt. Okay, Devanshu, you asked it out. I have unmuted you.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Devanshu, yes, you can speak loudly so that others can also listen.
Sir, for example, if I am personally, I'm, sir, if personally I'm matching a buyer and a seller and I'm charging a commission on it, so will I also be eligible for this TCS, or am I exempted from this, sir?
So how you are charging your commission? Are you supplying through electronic commerce operator? Are you supplying online? Are you acting as an app?
No, sir, just like personally, sir, matlab offline.
No, then there is no concept of this TCS.
Sir, and if I do it online, then I'll have to have to do this TCS.
Yeah,
Sir?
of course.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I hope the point is clear. And you have to read the definition. The doubt was that is TCS only for electronic commerce operator or every intermediary? It is only for electronic commerce operator. For this, you need to learn the definition of ECO. It is written in section 2, clause 45. Any intermediary who satisfies this condition will become the electronic commerce operator. That's it. Any person who owns, operates, or manages digital or electronic facility or platform for electronic commerce. As the name suggests, electronic, that means it must be online or digital, not only on personal basis. I hope the doubt is clear. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So this lecture is over now, TCS. Now tomorrow we will start another topic, payment of tax. And I have just sent around 5 question papers, 3 of BCom Pass Delhi University and 2 of BCom Honors Delhi University. You should try to solve those question papers, all these 5. You'll get an idea what type of questions are asked in the examination. And after some time, I will help you solving these questions online. But for this, you need to revise all the earlier topics which we have covered in our lectures, whether offline or online. So that's all for today. And we'll meet tomorrow with a new topic. Thanks.